Hello everybody, in today's video I want to talk about what I think the best conference is in college football, whether it's the SEC, ACC, Big 12, or Big 10. Enjoy the video. So to start off today's video, I wanted to go to the AP Top 25 and see how many teams each team has in the rankings this week for week 4. And the Big 10 has 3 teams, the SEC has 8, the Big 12 has 3, and the ACC has 1. So as you can see, the SEC has more teams in 25 through 10 than all the other conferences have combined. The SEC has 8, and the rest of them have 7 combined. I think that tells a big story about how much depth the SEC has compared to other conferences. But we haven't looked at the top 10 yet, and I think there's going to be more conferences represented in the top 10, or more teams from each conference than there is in 25 through 10. Now, so we can go ahead and rank and give 1 point to the SEC for depth. I think that's easily, they have the most depth in the conference. So they're the best conference when it comes to depth and how many quality teams they have. Okay, now that we're at the top 10 here, the Big 10 has 4 top 10 teams. The SEC also has 4. The Big 12 has 0, and the ACC has 2. So the Big 10 and the SEC have the most top 10 teams, and they have 8 out of the top 10 for this week. But I want to put a little bit of an asterisk on that, because the SEC has a lot of 6 through 10 teams, while the Big 10 has 3 out of the top 5. And Miami, which is an ACC team, is 4. So I think the conferences that we're seeing right now that are the best as of right now are the Big 10 and the SEC. And of course, that's been the debate. So I just wanted to give these other conferences a chance, though, before we narrowed it down to the Big 10 and the SEC. Obviously, the Big 12 has 0 top 10 teams, and the ACC only has 2. They have Florida State and Miami. Now, they are pretty good top 10 teams, but the Big 12 having 0 teams, I think that we can eliminate them first. I think I'm going to also eliminate the ACC, considering they didn't have very much depth. So I think we're down to the Big 10 and the SEC. Like I was saying earlier, the Big 10 has 3 out of the top 5 teams, and they also have the top 2 teams in the country with Ohio State and Penn State. Now, in my opinion, Oregon is the number 2 team in the country besides Penn State. I have Penn State at number 4, I believe. But that's not important. What I'm trying to get at here is that the Big 10 has more top quality teams. I heard this YouTuber talking about it, and I won't mention his name. But he was saying how the SEC is lacking a true alpha right now. And I definitely agree with that. He brought up some points about Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon. They're all in the Big 10, and they could all be the alpha of the SEC right now. Like, you have Texas, who I don't know if you could consider them an alpha. They haven't made a championship game in years now, and the last time they did, they got throttled. And Georgia hasn't looked itself the last 2 years. They should have made the playoffs in 2023, but of course, you know what happened. They lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game. Should they have made the playoffs that year? Maybe. Would they have won the national championship that year? Probably not, considering Michigan was probably the odds-on favorite to win. But I don't think you could even say Georgia is the alpha of the SEC right now. And you have teams like Alabama, who used to be the alpha, and Alabama dominated college football for 10 or 15 years. But there's no more Nick Saban anymore, so Alabama's not even a top 10 team at the moment. But you have coaches like Ryan Day and James Franklin and Dan Lanning, who are becoming the new top coaches of college football now. Now, I think James Franklin's a little overrated, considering he has a hard time winning the big game, but still, the point still stands. As far as top-tier talent, I'll give the edge to the Big 10, considering they have 3 of the top 5 teams. And they also have a 9th-place team in Illinois and a 6th-place team in Oregon. So, yeah, I think top-tier ability is definitely the Big 10. So, right now, the Big 10 and the SEC both have 1 point. Let's look at former champions here. So, yeah, as you can see, the SEC has dominated this up until recent years. Michigan and Ohio State have won the last 2 national championships, and SEC has not even been in the championship game the last 2 years, which is a little concerning. And like I was saying in my last point, the SEC is lacking a true alpha right now. Like, for the last 2 years, there hasn't been a Georgia or an Alabama or a Texas or an Oklahoma or a Florida that's gotten up there to win the championships recently. Now, Clemson has won a few since in the 2010s, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Those have been your usual suspects recently. Ohio State's won 3 since 2000. You have teams like in the 90s and the 80s like Miami and Penn State and Notre Dame, Florida State. Florida State won in 2013. That was their last one. Like I said, I don't think the ACC is much in consideration, or the Big 12. The Big 12 hasn't won a championship in a long, long time. I can't even remember the last time it's been since they won a championship. But I would say, given the fact that the Big Ten has won the last 2 national championships, I think they have the edge in the recent national championships category. So we've got 2 conferences left, the SEC and the Big Ten. And I'm just going to go based on what I think. I think the best team over the last 10 years has been Alabama, obviously. The best team currently right now is probably Ohio State. They just won the national championship, and they're looking like the best team so far this year. But I want to grade this how teams are doing like right now in 2025. I don't want to go on recent in history success. I mean, I know I'm a little contradicting myself with recent national champions. But I think the best conference right now is the Big Ten. They have 6 out of the top 10 teams. Whenever I mean the best conference, I mean like the best teams in the conference. And I think they have more of the best teams right now than the SEC. Now I think the SEC has way more depth in the Big Ten, with teams like Tennessee, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt even right now. They're looking pretty good. Florida has been a little bit down, but teams like that, they can still beat an average Big Ten team on any given day. So I think the SEC has more depth, but the Big Ten is overall the best conference in college football. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe on the video. It really helps out the channel out. But I'll see you guys later.